except when I'm at NACE Experience, only time.
That's all of us.
That's all of us, right?
So Corey and Amy, do you know a little bit about Anne and what she does and who she is and all that?
You can give us your little elevator pitch.
Okay, good. I have a whole PowerPoint because I come prepared.
Yay. Good.
But I will introduce myself. So my name is Ann Harper. I am the Director of Programs and Operations for NACE National. So I work for all of you. I've worked for NACE for almost 5.5 years. This whole time I've been in charge of the CPCE program. Primarily, I'm also in charge of Experience Conference from a high level, but specifically the education programming. I manage all of the education like webinars. And then I also assist with operations work, so manage the internal staff's, HR function, those kind of super exciting stuff, accounting functions. Lawrence Leonard is our executive director, so I assist him with some of those that super fun stuff. So I'm going to talk about CPCE today. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Oh, you have to enable my screen sharing.
Oh, okay.
Give it.
So is that under security?
Probably.
All participants to share screen. Okay.
There we go. Okay, perfect. I'm into this PowerPoint. You're actually going to see also. See my PowerPoint? Yes.
Let me see it.
Okay, good.
I do.
So you're going to see this PowerPoint. We actually just recently did a video that Michelle Dunnick did for our website. So this PowerPoint you're going to see again soon if you watch that video. But so here we go. So what is CPCE? So NACE, the National Association, of course, for Catering Events, administers the CPCE, which is the oldest and largest catering and events association in the world. And this program was established in 1986 by NACE and has developed substantially through the years to keep up with current industry standards and trends. We actually originally started the program as the Certified Professional Catering Executive, and that changed in 2012 to make the certification name more relevant to the industry as a whole. So now it incorporates both catering and events content. All right. Oops. So who manages the program? There's my haircut, when I used to get haircuts. My nice headshot there. Now, clearly I don't. And so who manages the program? The NACE National Board oversees the program, obviously, as a whole. We have a NACE National Certification Committee who makes recommendations for the programs. And then there's 2 of us on staff that manage the program. So I, as the director of the program, look at really the programming and look at the body of knowledge. Crystal Irwin, who's pictured there, is really our CPCE concierge. So once you start a CPC application, she's the one that helps you through the entire process, through to the exam. So you'll definitely be working with her through this process. So what are the goals of the program? So our goal of the program was to create a nationally recognized standard of competence for the catering and events industry. This way we promote professional commitment to the excellence in this industry. And then we also endorse active participation in education offerings that support the competency. This also helps employers in identifying qualified catering and events professionals, especially during this kind of time. And really the goal is to enhance the professional image of the industry as a whole so that people recognize that this is a real industry and people are committed to it and have a high quality of education within the industry. And then of course our goal is also to provide a personal achievement and career advancement for those that are in the industry. All of you. So why should you do the CPCE? These are the biggest benefits of CPCE that we've heard from other people who've gained the certification over the years. The first is that it's a mark of distinction in the industry. So if you have CPC after your name, this leads you to recognition for your expertise for both employers, consumers, and colleagues. All of those, oftentimes people say that CPCE is not as well known, but people ask when they see those name letters after your name, and then you can have a conversation about how much you are committed and to the industry and how much education you've received throughout this process. We do have some research that has shown that adding CPCE to your name communicates a professionalism and can strengthen your earning power, we do see that CPCEs earn average more than people who are not. Obviously, it definitely demonstrates your commitment to the industry, that you're committed to this industry as a whole. And also becoming certified assists you in continually improving and refining your skills. So more than 90% of CPCE certified say that the certification increased their confidence level at work. CPCEs also enhance their overall potential for career success by improving professional performance through increased knowledge and confidence. And it shows that not only you have a high level of expertise, but you're devoted to your career. All right, so within the CPCE, we have these core competencies, which really are basically the eight subjects that are covered on the exam and that create the body of knowledge for the CPCE program. So those are the ones listed on the websites or on the page here. So accounting, beverage management, catering services, contracts and agreements, food production, event management, human resources, and sales and marketing. So when we're going through the CPCE process, there's basically a few steps in the process. The first one is you're going to prepare to apply. So this is where you all right now in this process. Well, you do have a CPCE policy manual. It's available on our website. And that has about 15 pages of everything in detail. And we recommend that you go ahead and review that. It'll give you sort of all of the nitty-gritty for the program. And I can send that to anyone who needs a copy of it also. You do need to meet these two requirements on this page. The first one is that you need 36 months or 24 months in a hospitality degree in the last 5 years to be able to apply for the CPCE. That is 36 months of full-time experience, which we recognize as 30 hours or more per week on average. And that we do recognize your employment as of March 1st of this year, because we understand a lot of people aren't currently working, but they were working. So as long as you had that 3 years as of March 1st, then you would count to qualify for the CPCE. The second part of that qualification is 30 contact hours. So those contact hours can come from a variety of education sources. Obviously, we're partial to the NACE education programs like Experience, Evolve, and online education. But you can use those 30 contact hours from other conferences, other webinars you've attended, from other organizations, as long as they comply, as long as they sort of align with those 8 competencies I covered earlier. So most of, other organizations or education would meet that qualification. You have a question? Yeah.
I do. My degree is not in the past 5 years, and I don't think it counts as hospitality. My master's degree in business administration.
No, but do you have 3 years experience?
Oh God, I've run.
It's or
36 months or 24 and the degree.
Yes.
Gotcha. I didn't realize it was experience. Probably
yes.
Read it as education. So.
Yes. There's experience, and then there's the education. So
I was about to cry.
Yeah. So experience is 3 years of experience. And then, but we do let you, so it's one way that people who have graduated can get the certification a little quicker. And obviously in a hospitality degree, you have a lot of the content you need to take this test.
Gotcha.
So you don't need quite as much experience. But yes, you just need 3 years of experience.
Okay.
And so that's an or, and then the next one's an and. You need to have 30 contact hours. So
Gotcha.
one of the things that I mentioned to Desiree, the best way to start this process is all of you who are active NACE members can email us. And, I mentioned, we'll talk about the group rate in a minute, but we can talk about the having you email us your names, and we'll look up and see what contact hours you have for these conferences already. So we can look that up. If we have in our system the last 2 or 3 years, I think, of Evolve and Experience. If you've attended before that, you just let us know the conference and we can look it up.
And then if we need to get like hours from, like we have our MIC conference and stuff like that, we just need to contact them and get like proof of attendance or.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. So what you're going to need to do is, so we'll need documentation. So if you look in the policy manual, we go through like what specifically we need for documentation, but we can do that, we can kind of walk you through that process too. Usually it's the email, a certificate of attendance, however we can show that what the education was, what the topic was, how long it took. So if we have a timed agenda so that we can tell either that or that they tell you how many contact hours you earned, one of those two.
And how far back can we go? Like, is it dated?
5 years.
5 years.
Mm-hmm. So everything is within the last 5 years. And then if you need additional hours, as NACE members, you have access to the resource library. There's over 30 webinars listed there to get hours. So I encourage, we also have some other options for hours, but that's the easy one, free one. And chapter events also count. You would just need to get a letter from your chapter of what you attended, how long they were, topics. Most chapter events are an hour, usually, but if there was something that was more than that. Okay, so when you go through to apply, you're gonna have to fill out these forms. You're gonna have an application, which is a PDF form. You're gonna fill out a supervisor verification or a business owner verification, depending which applies to you, and get that signed. And that's really what proves to us you have the experience. And then you're gonna provide documentation of the 30 hours of any non-NACE education, because as I mentioned, NACE education, you don't have to provide us any additional documentation. And then once all of that is completed, then we will ask for payment.
So I went to the application site today, and it asks for your resume and then a reference letter.
So that is that's the scholarship application.
Oh, yes,
process.
yes.
Okay, so we'll talk about that in a minute. That's
Okay.
not the CPC application.
Yeah.
So when we get to the scholarship, remind me and let's talk about that, because we can talk about that there. Okay, so once you have the approved application, then you'll prepare for the exam, schedule the exam, and take the exam. We're going to talk a little bit about ways you can prepare for the exam. I'll talk about the study tools and resources. When you do go ahead to schedule the exam, we have an option for in-person proctoring or virtual proctoring. And you can take your CPC exam any day, anytime. I will say virtual proctors, we try to stay within our office hours as much as possible, but we can be a little flexible there. But otherwise, there isn't a specific day or time unless this group decides they want to take it together at a specific day and time. And then I'll talk a little bit more about the exam details also here. Okay, so here's the documentation we were talking about, Amy. If you need to have documentation, you'll have either a little certificate like this, which is what we provide people for experience, that says, the dates of when it attended, where it was, what education was there, and how many hours. Or we can get, letters, registration confirmations with agenda. Crystal will work with you on any of that education documentation you need to get. Any more questions about this topic? Pricing. So the CPC application, which includes one sitting for the exam, is $525 for both members and non-members. There's no price difference. So this group can be grouped. If you have some colleagues that are not NACE members and they want to join in, they can join in. This fee does not include any study materials. So it's only the application processing and one sitting of the exam. Now, this is a really smart group, so I'm sure you will not need the exam retakes. But if you did, that is $200 to retake it. And you can take it as many times as you want so once you have an approved application, you have 1 year to complete the exam. You actually have 1 year to complete as many times of the exam as you want during that time. Hopefully you just need one. Most people only need once. Then we do offer a group rate. So as I mentioned, Desiree, if you guys get 5 or more to apply together, pay together, we will take separate payments. But let's just think of you kind of applying all as a group. If we have to process 5 credit cards, it's fine. Or, checks, I guess, in these days. We prefer credit cards, of course, as you know, but we'll take checks too. And then one candidate serves as our primary contact. So Crystal will work with one of you, whoever you decide is in charge of this group, to get all the application documents together, all the applications, all the forms, and all of the payments from the group. And it does need to be 5 or more. So you're going to have to rope in a few more people. And if you do that, you get $100 off. So it'll be $425 for each of you. Any question about that? Here's what we're talking about: scholarship opportunity. So Timothy S.Y. Lamb Foundation has offered up scholarships. The next deadline is August 15th. And they have 9 available. I found out this week. They just gave us a few more. Very exciting. So if you go to that website, what the best thing to do, Amy, is to go ahead and apply for the CPCE scholar application, because they will ask for CPCE application approval also as part of your process. And then they do also require a resume and reference letters. They have a separate process that then you need to complete to be eligible for their scholarships.
Okay.
And then once it closes in August, then they make their selections. They review all of them, and then we find out usually fairly quickly, probably about 2 weeks, 3 weeks maybe.
Yeah, they had the dates on there of when the scholarship closes and when the I guess when they make their decision by, which said August or October 1st for that September 15th.
August 15th.
August 15th, yeah. The only thing I didn't see on there was when I started to just click through and see what I needed. There was a place to upload your resume, but not for, I guess the letter I think has to be emailed directly.
Yes, they'll actually follow up with your reference to get the letter from your reference, I believe. And this scholarship are worth $425. So if you get a group together, you will pay $0. If you don't get a group together, you would pay us $100 and then wait till we get payment from Timothy S.Y. Lamb Foundation. And then they pay us directly. And then once that payment is received, you'll be able to take the test. So you're not eligible to take the test until we receive payment from them.
Got it.
But yes, please do. Please apply. They have money to give, so please apply. We had 10 people receive them in April. So we're excited that they're giving us another 9 for August. And then November if there are any left. But hopefully you guys will all use them in August. Okay, so now we're talking about study materials. So I think most of you have heard that we're working on a new reference guide. I will tell that COVID has caused a slight delay in that guide. We rolled out a draft of it at Evolve, and we're still kind of working through the process of finalizing the content. So until then, anyone who applies will get 90 days notice before we roll out the new exam. So this materials are good at least 90 days, probably more, because there's no guide that's in my hand today. So currently we have the reference guide that you see on the picture here. The nice colored blocks. It's gonna look totally different, the new one. I can't wait to see the new one when it's all finished. That covers 7 of the competencies that are on the exam. The one that it does not is the food production competency, and that is covered. We recommend the food safety management principles from the National Food Safety Registry, but Serve Safe would also probably be fine if you have Serve Safe knowledge. So those are sort of the 2 reference materials that have the content for the exam. Then we offer training class. So the training class we offer is called Fast Track. Before COVID, we were offering it in person. We did offer it in person and in Dallas at Evolve. We normally would offer it in person at Experience, not this year. And then we've also partnered with chapters and done it live, Southern Wisconsin, Las Vegas, and Palm Springs. And we are talking with Orlando about doing it in person, but again, that's all kind of up in the air, as you all know. We are working on, there is an online version currently, and we're working on an updated online version that will just be a little fresher. And that I'm hoping to have information about by probably early next week. about when we're going to schedule that, which will be online, live online, which is a little confusing, but live online, and then you'll have access to the recordings. In that fast track, we cover 1 hour of each competency, and then you also get access to a workbook, which is, basically the PowerPoint slides that you can take notes in, and practice questions. There's practice questions both online, and there's some written ones in the book. They're the same questions, but some people like to take it on paper and some people like to do it online. So that is an option that Desiree and I have talked about that we could do for all of you as a group also. And then, we can have that conversation when we're done with all of this. Any other questions here? Study tools. There's also some flashcards that have been floating around. We don't currently sell them, but if you find a copy, maybe Karen has copies sitting around. Josh.
I asked. They don't have them.
They don't have them? They got rid of them?
I asked
There are
Josh
still some floating around.
They don't have them.
They don't have them? Yeah. There's still some floating around. Somewhere around. They'll be back.
With the new guide, and how would that affect us if we're planning to take the exam in November if we buy the current guide?
I think if you're planning to take it in November, I wouldn't worry about it. I don't have it currently in my hand. I'm working on a new date of when we're going to roll it out, but because you'll have 90 days, I would have to have it in my hand at the end of August, and I don't anticipate that.
So go ahead and buy the current one, and that will be okay for taking the test in November.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I think I talked about January 1st being potential, but
probably. I think January 1st. Oh, I'm being recorded. You didn't hear me say
that. Oh, sorry.
Won't hold you to anything.
Okay, good. Okay, good. Yeah. Okay. So, so definitely go, if you're going to do it now. I mean, I don't want you to be held back by that. I think that I always encourage all of you to take this opportunity. If you can fit it in your schedule right now, if you have the time commitment, don't let the material thing to hold you back. Do it now.
Yeah, I was about to click buy, and then I saw that highlighted after September 1st. I was like, oh no.
Yeah, we need to update that. I keep moving it back, and I hate moving it back every day. So I need to it's one of those things. It's on the list, Amy. Okay, so here is so let's talk about the exam. So the exam we do online. I'm happy to say we haven't had to do any paper exams in a few years, which is very exciting for me. And so it's an online format, which is also what makes it super adaptable when we went all virtual. The virtual proctoring would be in a Zoom meeting like this with Crystal or I watching you take the exam. Super exciting, but it's available, for those of you that need it. So the online exam has 175 multiple choice questions covering the 8 competencies. On our website is an exam content outline that talks about how many questions from each of those 8. They are not weighted evenly. Beverage management, catering, food production, and event management are weighted, so there's more questions on those 4 topics than there are the other 4. So if you go on that website, it looks like Desiree's got it in her hand. So you definitely need to know those top 4. And then HR, sales and marketing, accounting, and contracts have fewer questions. Each exam is unique. So the 3 of you, if you're taking it at the same time, you may have different questions because they pull different question banks for each competency. If you took the exam multiple times, you might also see different questions. We require a 70% passing score. You get 2.5 hours to take it. And as soon as you click submit, you get to find out if you passed or not. If you pass, you will not find out your score ever. It'll be a secret until forever. I don't even know that I can see the score actually. But if you don't pass, then we give you feedback so that when you study again, you know which areas you need to work on.
Oh, I'm one of those people that wants to know.
I know you are. You all are like that, and that's why we stopped doing it. Actually, it was funny because for a long time, you didn't get the score. And then when we rolled out a new system, we couldn't figure out how to hide it for a little while. And so people would get it, and then everyone would be all competitive, and everyone would be all like, I got an 81, and I got 72, whatever. But it doesn't matter. Because once you're a CPCE, you're a CPCE forever. There's no CPCE star. You're all
Okay,
CPCE.
Anne.
Someday someone will have to bribe me really heavily to see the scores. Just kidding. Okay, so but you'll get to find out right away. So back in the day of paper tests, you would have had to wait 6 weeks to find out your score.
6 weeks?
Yeah,
no.
6 weeks. I just took a test, those CAE letters that are after my name, and it took 3 months to find out my score, and I got it in a letter in the mail.
Oh, wow.
With a photocopiable press release, which I did not use because I don't own a photocopy machine. Just saying. And then, you know, the good thing is that you can schedule it at your preferred time. So if you decide to take it as a group, you are welcome to do that. Or you can each schedule it separately. That's fine too. This is a great thing because if you're a morning person, you can schedule it in the morning. If you're not a morning person, you can schedule it later in the day. You can make sure your kids are hidden away and not interrupting your sessions. Right.
Kids do that? What?
Yeah, you lock them away out of the room. Yeah, I had to laugh because I was virtual proctoring someone recently, and her daughter was like in the other room, and you know I'm listening but not listening, you know, and she's like, "I'm still taking my test," yelling at her from the other room. Crack me up. We've all been there, especially recently.
Yep.
Okay, so once you pass, then you are part of the CPCE club. And you are required to recertify every 5 years. And every 5 years, you'll have to provide another 30 hours of contact hours, and you'll have to pay a fee. If you get to the point where you have been a CPCE for more than 10 years and you're more than 60 years of age, you can apply for emeritus status. So we're going to add a lot of CPC emeriti this year. We have like, I think 3 or 4 people applying this year. And then when you're emeritus, you apply and then you never have to renew again.
So the recertification, you have to take the test again?
You do not have to take the test. All you have to do is pay us and provide the education
Hours.
Contact hours.
It's really to prove to us that you're still maintaining that learning in the competency areas. So you just have to provide it. You never have to take the test again, which is why when I see people lapse, I'm like, oh, I hope you're not coming back because no one wants to do that test again. Nobody.
And is there with the points broken down, is it by category, like accounting, you have to have so many hours and?
No, you can have all 30 in catering if you want.
Oh.
If you, now just knowing that of course the test covers all of the areas, but you of course can have education in any. The one thing we do offer, if you have, there is a food safety class that if you've never had food safety, I highly recommend. You probably have because you work in catering. But if, you know, sometimes we have event planners or people who have never touched food safety, and there are a fair amount of questions on food safety. So if you, and you know, that stuff's just knowing it, right? Like knowing the percent, knowing the degrees that something has to be at, and knowing. So, you know, we have a partner of ours that provides, obviously Serve Safe would work, but we have another offer that's a little cheaper than that. So I would encourage, like in certain areas, if you don't have any knowledge, that you would want to get some. And then we do offer some online courses in 6 of the competencies, not food production and not HR, but we have accounting, which is a very popular one for a lot of people. And those are like 6 hours or 12-hour classes that you can take online. There you go. It's my PowerPoint for today. So what did I miss? Any other questions?